All right, everybody, what's going on? We're going to talk about disclosure because, it seems to be popping in and out throughout the media. And, I am a conspiracy buff or whatever you want to call it. And I think it's kind of important that we kind of discuss this kind of stuff so we can kind of own in on the possibilities and the variants. I mean, there's channels that are just dedicated to aliens and UFOs and all of that stuff, I mean, TV shows and stuff like that. So, when you're dealing with something that's like unknown, like have you know no set parameters with fact, it's really the imagination that can just fill, and if you let that happen, there's just, well, it's infinite. I mean, what I'm not trying to pick a side or anything like that. I mean, I've seen a craft in the sky. It was metallic. Could it have been a top secret government craft? I don't know. It was diamond shaped, and I'm pretty well versed in um, aircraft and, I mean, even stealth and all that stuff. And this was back in, geez, like early '90s or so. But what would aliens? What do they want if they're here or they're out there? I mean, are they friendly, benign, benevolent? I mean, are they just cute little guys that have they been here? Have they interacted with humans, or are they enemies? I mean, are they just good? Are they helpful? Do they want to steer mankind to a better place, like a lot of people think, or just stop all the nuclear activity and get to a better place before they can concede? Are they helpers? Are they guides, mystic type guides? I don't know. Maybe they're hunters, collectors. Maybe they're vicious predators that just hunt, or seeking out the ones that they can abduct and take away or hunt down. That's interesting, right? Maybe they're just evil and they want to conquer us, right? Total population control, take over the planet, enslave us. All these variables are interesting aspects of it. But let's look at it realistically. I mean, realistically, we don't even know if they look like us. Are they humanoid? There are whole vast accounts and variations that go along. Are they just like us, seeking, life out in the universe, and they just pondered upon us? Or could they just possibly even be more of an animalistic type alien? You have so many different variants out there in the media, so many conceptions and interpretations. But let's just go ahead and get a little bit of knowledge of what's kind of happened. So back in the day, everybody knows about Roswell, right? So it was actually put into the newspaper, right, that they found a flying saucer. It was retracted. I don't know many governments that play games and say something like that in a newspaper, an official newspaper, but then it was redacted. Now all of a sudden they've released footages of UFOs. Is it man-made? Are they test flighting it? Because there's this TRB. Is that real? I mean, presidents have talked about it. What's going on in Antarctica? Hmm? Why are they studying Antarctica so much? What's up with this disclosure that's been going on here lately? What is Space Force all about? Why the sudden peak in wanting to be honest, and instead of all the you know denials? Disclosure? What is disclosure? And whose authority does it get disclosed? Let's just talk about fact, because there's only a few couple of ways that this can go. The if if aliens are visiting Earth, and they, you know, you've probably heard the show Ancient Aliens. I've watched most episodes and stuff like that. And, you know, there's just not, I mean, there's glimpses and there's more evidence now. But the thing about it is that it's so easy to manipulate video footage and photographs with the camera that it's just very kind of, you know, you have to question everything. I mean, I know what I saw with my two eyes, and I was with somebody else, and they know what they saw. It was a diamond shaped craft, and it didn't make sounds. It was fast, and it was metallic. Um, Nothing I've ever seen before or since. Could it have been a stealth prototype that wasn't painted black? Sure, I guess, maybe, but I still have not seen it. And I'm privy to a bunch of knowledge of airplanes. I have people, friends, family in the military. So, um, the realistic portrayal is, and this is kind of, you know, the thing about Roswell is that they were supposedly beings, right? And we actually captured them, and we were communicating with them. So what does this tell you? So if there is an extended race out there that are visiting this planet, then there's been communication. Then it's not just going to cease and desist. Okay, these beings, if they're flying in craft that can travel through space, right? They're not going to be dumb, animalistic. Okay? If they wanted to enslave us and they had the technology to fly and do all those vast maneuvers that are presented to us, if they wanted to enslave us, they would. Right? Unless there's a catch to that one. I mean, they would have the technology and the ability to, I mean, you got to think about if they have like several different vehicles that can do this, they're bound to have technology that can do destructive things. So I wouldn't say that they're here to invade. I mean, maybe to observe, maybe to study, maybe to, I mean, if there's abductions, to find out what makes us tick. I mean, you know, if you think about, you know, if we're checking out a species that we've never seen before in the animal kingdom, depending on what they look like and how they act, we might be kind of weary and kind of wait for our opportunity to either capture and study, or do it from the, you know, from hidden positions. The other thing is that if if there was a UFO that was shot down and there was communication going on, there would have to be deals going on, right? So, and with all this talk of disclosure, and they're seemingly to be admitting that, yeah, it's a real deal. We don't know what this is. So if you don't know what it is, it's automatic that, I mean, it's not any, I mean, if no country or no person is willing to step up. But supposedly we have a lot of technology that came from these UFO crafts, and that's like the TR-3B and all of, you know, the Black Triangle UFO that we have actually reversed engineered. You know, Bob Lazar has videos, and there's information out there if you want to, you know, investigate it that way. But, you know, of all the variables that I can come across, and one of them was pretty unsettling. You know, what do you do with the crop, right? So, like in a lot of ancient alien theories, you know, they say that, you know, they assisted, or that we were enslaved. You know, we were made to do, you know, give sacrifices and dig for gold and give them up. And, you know, there's tons and millions, and I mean, there's probably an unlimited amount of ammunition drawn from ancient texts, interpretations that could be, you know, twisted to fit this scenario that, you know, that we were enslaved by aliens, right? And, you know, it kind of dawned on me, well, why would we do that? And then we still have gold here, and if they still wanted it, and they're just kind of coming in and out, and why wouldn't they just do it up like, well, you know, maybe they're doing it kind of willingly now. more intelligently now. And here's the other thing: if you have a crop, what happens? Or if you have like say you have I don't know what they call them, like the chicken farms, like KFC, right? They have their own chicken farms, right? So you breed them and you grow them and you want to keep them, to a certain amount in a certain population. And when they get to that population, they get to a certain age, then you start to process them to be cooked up and fed. What if, just what if, we're like tomatoes to them. We're going to come back and be like, hey, food's grown on the planet. We like these human meats. We don't eat the meat of every animal. And some animals we like a little bit more than others, right? Mm. Had that thought, because there's something bizarre about this UFO activity, this alien activity that doesn't make sense. If they're there and they're landing and they're abducting people, why wouldn't there be any interaction of introduction? I mean, there's a language barrier or a communication barrier? I highly think not. If you are willing to, or not willing to, if you have the ability to create these crafts that can travel the universe, that you're familiar with science and stuff like that, then there might be something different for them, but it would still be able to carry over, I believe. I mean, whether it be like fanciful tales or, you know, imagination, we've had TV shows that have had aliens that have lived beside mankind, like, on the good and bad side, like Alien Nation, V, Star Wars, where it was all just a community and it was, and then somewhere where we were like what V is kind of like what I'm suggesting. Because if that craft crashed in the 40s, right? And we've known about this for over 50 years, and we've had interactions, and they're in our airspace. There has to be something where at some point a communication has to be made. Is it going to be like the what was that movie that had Keanu Reeves in it? The Day the Earth Stood Still. Yeah, it's going to be like that. I don't know. Or is the government just going to slowly kind of put it out there? But there's one thing that's being said complicitly through a lot of different communities within this realm. And that is that disclosure and all this activity that's been taking place with the, being able to catch it with your cell phone and all this, supposedly, very easily. And that's why there's an abundance of these videos available with YouTube and, the popularity of it. It's a possibility, is it not, that the sightings and the vehicles and all of this stuff is just government or other countries? And is it possible that, what are these aliens going to look like? Are they going to be, humanoid like us or not like us? Are they going to be like considered like the classic grays that are depicted with the large black eyes? Because it seems to me, and this is a very good perspective on it as well, is that if the government wanted to do something and kind of make it look as though we're being attacked by aliens, right? They could do that. They could take these vehicles that they have, that they've been working on in secret projects, like in secret bases like 51 and S4 and all this other stuff, right? But then if that happens, if there becomes an alien invasion, so to speak, now it could be that, they got pissed off that ship got shot down and it took them 50 years to get over here, because where did they come from? Who knows? And then they're pissed off and this is the retaliation. But you have to think about it on the other side too, is that if it was a malevolent group of beings Why wouldn't they attack or do something like that as well? Right? So, in the event that there is a hostile invasion, disclosure, whatever, I would say that it would have to be the government. I would just have to say that. That would be my personal opinion. Because I just don't see. That's, I guess, really, that's like the big mystery. If they're there, why? If, and in my opinion, if they can travel like that and they have that technology, I mean, look at the technology that we have. I mean, we have nuclear technology that can change the face of the earth. I think they would probably be able to come up with something like that. And if they were observing us, they would be able to easily obtain that data through the internet or, whatever means. They would be able to obtain the knowledge to utilize that weaponry. So that's a big mystery of, what exactly is the purpose. And there's also another theory. We'll cover this theory because in some aspects it makes quite a lot of sense as well. Because it also has to do with celestialness and the heavens, and that's what they call space, is the heavens. Could these aliens and UFOs and these lights, these orbs and all of this, could it be, and they say it in Ancient Aliens, could it be of biblical nature? But not just like, oh, they came down because, the gods from the skies, not as gods, but demonics, like demonic activity, like demons. It's funny, if you do any kind of study and you check the correlation between an alien abduction and the correlation of demonic possession, they hold very similar, stories and aspects. Like sleep paralyzation runs heavy within both of those categories. What would happen if it was like you were sleep paralyzed and you were seeing these aliens, but really it was just demons? And what if these demons actually have crafts? You say, well, they fell from the heavens, they fell from earth, they fell to earth. What does that tell you? I mean, do you think they were in their bodies and they fell? Or maybe they had crafts. I don't know. It's not very specific. But it's also would make a lot of sense that they could be demons, because they wouldn't want their motives to be completely transparent. They're here to manipulate and deceive and this is all speculative. But the whole subject, until it's on the table, is all speculative. I'm just trying to give you some different variables, different perspectives. And, this could go on for quite some. I mean, look, Ancient Aliens has about 12 seasons or something nonsense like that. Man, I can't remember. I want to say it's A Child's End or something like that. It was a miniseries. It was off of a book where, we did get visited, and actually the lead guy looked like Satan. I mean, if you look up Satan alien TV show, sci-fi, something like that, it will pop up. I want to say a Child's End or something like that is the title. Can't remember offhand, and I'm not gonna stop and go back and check it and edit it in. So, I've had people that I trust, tell me about some stuff, and it wasn't like, and that's the other thing. If somebody just bangs out with us, say, hey man, I know about UFOs, and I've known these people for a long time, and they'll just look, in the midst of just, sitting around, and they'll never say it in a big group. I mean, every once in a while you get somebody that'll do it in a small group, but just look at me and be like, man, what do you think about UFOs? Why, have you seen one? As a matter of fact, man, long time ago, dude, let me tell you this story, man. And it's almost like they have to get it off of their chest. It's like they've been waiting to that point to where it wasn't going to be an uncomfortable judgment, right? To where it's been like the event took place even before you met this. But when I was a kid, let me tell you what I saw. Why would somebody do that if it's a lie? I mean, you're already friends with them, and they're, it's not like they have to brag on something or be magical or be unique to, gain anything. There's no gain to it, So I do believe that there's something going on. I don't know whether it's government, whether it's demons, whether it's aliens, but it makes sense. And that might be why the government doesn't want to say anything. Because that's the other thing I don't get. If there are aliens and it's confirmable and that's the situation, why not? And I'm telling you, I don't know that it would cause hysteria. I mean, maybe it would if there's a lot of closed-minded people out there, maybe possibly, but we've seen so many movies. It's been inundated into our subconscious. If somebody came up to you and said, hey man, they got aliens at the penthouse, we're going to talk to them. Do you think you're just going to lose your mind and be like, I got to buy toilet paper. It's like Ebola. It's Corona 2020 alien version. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that because, they did buy all the toilet paper during coronavirus. Let's imagine if they said, hey, there's aliens. But they could be good aliens and they might be bringing bidets for everybody. You never know. Might eliminate the paper waste in the world. Or did we steal their technology off that plane and the bodies that died and everything? And maybe they're pissed off. Maybe that's why the government didn't want to say, hey, man, we did this and we didn't know better. But there's a warning note. They're going to be coming soon. They're going to be pissed. But even still, if there was a hostile environment or, situation that was about to arise, that's when you would tell people, not let that just fall down on people. But, I can't speak for anybody else, but that's just the type of person I am. If I have some knowledge and I knew something bad was going to happen, I'd be like, hey guys, you might want to it's going to be like a alien laser beam come through here in about 4 hours. So let's disperse a little bit and just, I want anybody to freak out or run and trample each other. But we might need to redirect this somewhere else. I think most people would. And I think that most people would see that would be the right of the other people to know. Unless you had malintentions towards that person and want to set up a sabotagement like that. But this is my little insert on aliens. I've done a lot of studying on it, done a lot of research. If you have anything interesting that you'd like to add, feel free to do so in the comment box. There are classifications. There are just as many science fiction movies that are like Star Trek and aliens and all the different wild ideas that have come up throughout, the ages, like Predator, all that, there's the slideshow that I showed earlier with all the different, entities. There's just as much that are supposedly put on the true and real form, like praying mantis, reptilians, different, like the Palladians and, different, that they say that, well, and Earth is kind of like supposed to be left alone because in this galactic balance, there are good and there are, evil, races of aliens. It's several races of aliens. Which, hey, I haven't seen any, so I don't know. I'm not going to, theoretically and mathematically, if you look at infinite, what's the chance that something could happen in an infinite universe? To me, it's 100%. It's viable. Because we don't know the set perimeters that exist outside that. So it's very feasible that, all of that stuff could possibly be true. It could be true that, we've shot one down and we've reversed engineered it and got a lot of technology. Because if you look at technology, where we've made a jump at, look from, 1850 to 1950. And then if you want to look at 1950 to now, look at the exponential and understand that population growth, and being more, of a society that could work together, and more manpower gets more stuff done. I get that, but there was a lot of people around in them in those days. But I understand, digging up resources, and some person's research could only go so far, and then it was passed on, and then they pick it up, and it kind of generationally grows. But I don't know. This just kind of wanted to talk about aliens because there's a whole lot of talk of it in the news. And if you have something, put in the comments. I might do a couple more just to streamline a couple other offshoots. But what do you think about aliens? Do you want to even believe?